Is anything that he's saying correct?
Terrence has several influences, which, again, I don't think it's clear to me. I have to ask him questions to find out whether I'm even right. Look, one of the problems is I may be wrong about my model of Terrence. This is the first time I'm meeting him. I didn't know who he was before the podcast. And I need to know whether or not I'm even building the right model of Terrence, because otherwise it's just silly to have me here and I'm going to critique what I built in my own mind from Terrence's words.
Right.
What I would love, what I was hoping is that you would be able to explain your geometric unity model.
That's a different day. This is about you.
Okay, then all right, then.
But you guys could definitely get it. That could be a whole nother podcast. But what about what he was saying is incorrect just now?
He's saying things that are often at a level that are allegorical, and you could make them. So Terrence sometimes mentions something called category theory, right? And there's a weird way in which category theory can take something that seems to be an analogy and make it precise and powerful, right? So you can have two systems that don't look the same, and you spot an analogy between them, and then you say, holy cow, there's an exact mapping of one system onto another in which it was unexpected that those are the same structure. So for example, we're going to get into something about multiplication where Terrence has an issue with multiplication. But to the best of my knowledge, you don't have an issue with addition.
I don't have an issue. I don't have an issue with multiplication either.
Well, then 1 times 1 is what?
1 times 1 should equal 2. And action times an action. If you can show me one place in the universe.
But you just shifted
frames. No. Show me one place in the universe, one natural observable phenomenon where 1 times 1 equals 1, where an action times an action doesn't have a reaction.
So then you just went into some. There's a concept called logomachy, which is arguing over words. And what you want is not to be caught. If I can beat you in a word game, or you can beat me in a word game.
You can beat me in a word game. I didn't go to MIT.
You can beat me in a word game.
I heard,
by the way, I heard you with B.B. King, where he was having trouble improvising on the spot, and your mind just rescued him with a partial rhyme. I really appreciate that because he's one of my favorites.
Yeah, he invited me to do a show.
That was a big deal.
I got to play with him. Wow. I was scared to play guitar though with him. I should have put out the guitar, but I was scared. To get on the stage.
He was happy to have
you. It's B.B. King, man.
But I sang with him.
It's B.B. King.
Thank you for appreciating that.
So let's get to this flower of life, because that's sort of the beginning of this exploration. Also,
but can you correct what he said about 1 time? What about an action and a reaction?
So I was trying to get to some. Do you have a problem with the way we do addition? I understand
the addition, the subtraction, and division is all right. Beyond the only problems I have is dividing by. You can't divide by 0, but you can multiply by 0. And if division is the inverse operation of multiplication, then you should be able to divide by it. But if you divide by 0, you end up with an infinity. And there was a great system put together by Marco Rodin, the vortexual based math system, where they remove the 0, but it's able to predict all the things necessary. It was 100% precise as a model, but it's been abandoned, or it's been relegated to the outskirts.
Don't know that. We do things where sometimes we can divide by 0. We have concepts like the pointed infinity, where you can complete a structure that the original structure can't accommodate a problem, an operation, but you can complete it to a larger system in which that thing does become sensible. So as an example of the 1 times 1, assume that Terrence doesn't have a big problem with addition, because addition doesn't have the division by 0 problem. Okay. It is the case that if you take any 2 numbers, A and B, 2 real numbers, right, or make them positive, and take the natural logs of those 2 numbers and add those together. Then you take the exponent of that. So we haven't done a times operation at all.
Right.
The exponential of the ln of A plus ln of B. That is equal to the A to A times B. In other words, addition and multiplication are what we would say is isomorphic, or an ordinary person would say exactly the same thing. So in other words, if you don't allow me multiplication, but you would allow me, because you like waves, so with waves you need exponentials and you need natural logarithms, there's no way of changing the law of multiplication and accepting the law of addition because they're the same system.
The multiplication should initially started as exaggerated addition. That was the whole point of it.
Well, the precise statement would be that the positive real numbers under multiplication, with the identity element being the multiplicative identity being 1, are isomorphic to the total real numbers under addition, with the additive identity being 0. And the natural logarithm and exponential are group homomorphisms that connect the two, with one being the other's inverse. So by the principle of explosion, the reason that people are in part going to freak out about your stuff is that we have a vulnerability. And that vulnerability says that from a single contradiction, if you can sneak one contradiction through TSA, the entire airport collapses. Everything that we do just is destroyed. And so the idea is that the security on mathematics and physics and the physical sciences is extraordinary for outside ideas, because the first contradiction in the unity of knowledge destroys all of it. If you've ever seen one of these warehouse racking collapses,
yes,
where some forklift guy hits some strut and the entire warehouse goes, that's what you're dealing with the principle of explosion.